50 years ago today, hundreds of thousands gathered in the nation's capital to march for equality and jobs. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Rochelle Metzger.
And I'm Sonia Shrivastava. Glad to have you with us tonight. President Barack Obama capped off this historic day with a speech on the Lincoln Memorial, just as Martin Luther King Jr. did 50 years ago. Thousands of marchers retraced Dr. King's steps along Constitution Avenue, calling for similar civil rights issues along with some new ones. Denise Douglas has their details.
It is a very hopeful atmosphere down here. We're at the corner of Constitution Avenue, and you can see these young folks behind me. They are going to be heading over to the main march. But before they do, they're rallying here for a number of civil rights issues that they say are important to them.
We say hell no!
They call themselves the New Movement.
We say hell no!
Young people from Parkdale High, as well as other schools in the area and around the country, came to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy and push it forward.
That the new movement is alive, that King's dream is not safely dead, and that we're going to march today, march tomorrow, and keep marching until we win full citizenship rights for everyone in this country.
We are the new generation, so it's very important for us to be here because honestly, we're coming up, soon, old people, you guys are going, so it's our generation. We're going to be holding the world next.
While the march in 1963 was about jobs and equality, they want the civil rights struggle now to be broader and include immigration reform, economic equality, and gay rights issues.
And I tell anybody today, I don't care what a creed, what your orientation is.
Samuel Ross agrees. He was only 2 when he attended the original march and doesn't remember the detail, but wants to take it all in this time.
I want to come with more understanding as to why the march took place. When I was a child, I didn't too much understand what was all going on at the time.
He does recall the discrimination as he grew up.
Coming up as a child, when we used to be able to, not as an African-American man, we could not go into restaurants and eat, in the same sections like we can now.
As he reflects on the changes he's seen for African Americans, Ross says there's more work to be done, but he is pleased with the progress made in the past 50 years and believes King would be too.
I think he would say, job well done, because we've come a very long way.
President Obama will be speaking a little bit later today at the Lincoln Memorial in the same spot that Dr. King did. In addition, 2 former presidents, along with several celebrities, will be making remarks as part of today's anniversary event. I'm Denise Douglas, downtown, CTV News.
On October 15th, some of the young people we spoke with say they plan to rally at the Supreme Court regarding affirmative action.
The commemoration kicked off this morning with hundreds who waited anxiously to get through security checkpoints. Several open areas, including the World War II Memorial, were all closed off. Hundreds slowly turned into thousands as people filed in and around the reflection pool on the National Mall. Attendees like Hattie Shaw and Lawana Lewis were among many who were excited about making history.
My great-grandmother was actually here for the first March on Washington, so I thought that it would be very important, because she's not here anymore, to kind of continue that legacy and kind of, be involved in this very historical moment in time, and to see the different speakers and to be involved in this kind of community bringing together.
To have the opportunity to bring my son Logan to experience a March on Washington. I actually like crowds, especially crowds getting together for a positive reason. So living in DC, I wanted to really take part of this and be a part of something that happened a really long time ago.
It's great to see. I mean, there's so many divisions in our nation. There's so many divisions in every situation that you have. So it's nice to see people come together about something that they care about. And I think that with that same motivation, that same teamwork, we can achieve a lot.
I admire President Obama, and I think he is a very good leader, and the fact that he, in a way, fulfills part of Dr. King's dream of 50 years ago expressed. I think that he need not try to duplicate Dr. King's address. He is being part of that dream, and he indeed has a responsibility as our chief executive to continue to try to give the leadership that would fulfill as much of that dream as he can.
It's not enough to have a right to sit on a
Obama,
lunch counter.
former President Bill Clinton, and
buy
Congressman John Lewis and others delivered speeches on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial this afternoon. The president honored the work of Dr. King and addressed today's theme of jobs and justice.
Dr. King's soaring oratory that day. How he gave mighty voice to the quiet hopes of millions. How he offered a salvation path for oppressed and oppressors alike.
This march and that speech changed America. They opened minds, they melted hearts, and they moved millions, including a 17-year-old boy watching alone in his home in Arkansas. It was an empowering moment, but also an empowered moment.
Martin Luther King Jr. taught us the way of peace, the way of love, the way of nonviolence. He taught us to have the power to forgive, the capacity to be reconciled. He taught us to stand up, to speak out, to find a way to get in the way. But that vision of justice and equality.
The legendary John Lewis speaking there. Now, the march in Washington is remembered for its great speeches, most notably by the one by Dr. King. But what if no one was there to listen? What if no one showed up on the National Mall? Today, a memorial was unveiled in Annapolis to honor the more than 250,000 foot soldiers that risked their lives to be a part of that great day.
1, 2, 3.
To say time flies is an understatement. Just ask any of these surviving foot soldiers. They remember the march 50 years ago like it was yesterday.
I got a babysitter for my kids, and I said, I'm going down to the march. And I took a bus down and went down there by myself.
It was a lot of unexpected stuff, because you didn't know what you was going into or what the outcome was going to be.
This granite memorial located at the corner of Clay and Calvert Streets in Annapolis is the only one in the country dedicated to the 250,000 everyday citizens that came from all over the country to march for equality and then took that message back to their communities. 81-year-old Henry Crossan remembers catching a bus from Annapolis to Washington. That day made a huge difference on his life, and today he came to mark the occasion with his entire family, including grandson Quentin.
To be there to hear, I had a dream. And we, not only to hear that we had a dream, but to carry a dream with you and take a dream away with you. But that was a joyful and a meaningful, peaceful relationship.
Coming up in school and seeing all that in the history books, and to knowing that I'm a direct connection to that, it's kind of like I'm really awestruck, and I'm just humbled to be able to be a link of, just the ashes of what's already been done.
My own family were very racist, and I just wasn't. I didn't ever saw the color of anybody, and that's the way I am today.
Signs of age are only visible through canes and wheelchairs because these young at heart foot soldiers say it's up to the younger generation to be the keeper of the flame.
And yes, he would be pleased, Dr. King, of the progress that we've made, but he would not be satisfied.
Our little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
I want to thank God for how he brought me. Oh, thank my God how he kept me. And then I'm going to say somewhere around God.
Here's a bit of history for you. Annapolis was the first city in Maryland to elect an African American to the city council in 1873, and that was a very long time ago. And Rochelle, I don't know if you know, but I learned a little bit of history today. From 1909 till 1915, African Americans could not vote in this country, and then that wasn't very long ago. So
no,
it's
really, when you think about the course of history.
Yeah, and so we learned a lot today in Annapolis.
And now we learned a lot. Thanks, Sonia.
And you're watching CTV News.